Dumelang, good morning everyone. Now that the mayor has joined us, we can have the choir start us off with the national anthem. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the EMPD choir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the EMPD choir. Dumelang, good morning. Sanbonani, Tobela. Welcome to the Ekurhuleni Tourism Stakeholders Engagement Sessions. My name is Clement Manyatela. I'm a radio and television broadcaster, and I am honored this morning to welcome you to this important platform where you as government, you as industry leaders, as other stakeholders, as communities, you come together to reimagine tourism in Ekurhuleni. This is all about sharing ideas. It's all about addressing issues that as stakeholders you have been facing, sharing information about tourism-related opportunities, the trends, the developments, and the best practices. Because it's these kind of engagements in these sessions that are going to culminate in the review of the Ekurhuleni tourism strategy. And for that strategy to be successfully implemented, there must be a deeper understanding of the local, national, as well as the provincial legislatures and policies with a direct impact on tourism. You also need interactions with other spheres of government, local. You need to talk to the private sector as well. And that's why the stakeholders engagement session is taking place. And I'm hoping that at the end of this session, we can have some kind of an implementation plan outlining the timeframes and also the officials or stakeholders that are going to be responsible for advancing that process and progress, so that the work to grow Ekurhuleni continues and to grow tourism in Ekurhuleni continues. Some housekeeping rules now. If you need bathrooms, you exit, and on your left there should be bathrooms, or you can go down the stairs. I'm gonna request that we please keep our phones on silent mode so that we don't interrupt the speakers who will be on the podium. Without any Sivuyile Ngotwana, who's the MMC for Corporate and Shared Services in the city of Ekurhuleni, to give us a welcome address.
No, thank you very much, Program Director, Executive Mayor of the City of Ekurhuleni, Alderman Kosindipile Xhakaza, members of the mayoral committees, Chairperson of Section 79 Committee, Councillor Tino Mate, Acting City Manager, Senior Management, and all administrative staff present today, our esteemed guest, delegate of the Ekurhuleni Tourism Indaba, key stakeholders, business leaders, and captain of industries, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It gives me a great pleasure to speak to you this morning, to welcome you cordially at the official Ekurhuleni Tourism Indaba. This event, culmination of strategy leadership provided by the Executive Mayor of the City of Ekurhuleni, Alderman Kosindipile Xhakaza, and the meticulous execution by our capable senior administration team under the stewardship of Acting City Manager, Dr. Tulufelo Kupeti. This collective effort, together with a critical contribution to our stakeholder, has provided profound opportunity to the city to take everyone on a journey to explore what the Ekurhuleni as a gateway to Africa has to offer within Gauteng city regions. Program Director, the purpose of the Ekurhuleni Tourism Indaba is to create a conducive environment for both internal and external stakeholders, and indeed the captains of industry to share knowledge as the city. And we have made a point that those are articulated. Today, we would like to activate another component of our competitive advantage, which ranges from world-class hotels to luxurious B&B, and our strong historical and cultural offering to the tourism and business communities. In recent years, we have witnessed a significant increase both in Ekurhuleni and the country of a number of tourists who and explore its captivating natural beauty, its robust wildlife, and welcoming and engaging warm weather in most parts of the country. Fittingly, the city of Ekurhuleni has so much to offer as the industrial hub of the country. Ekurhuleni has one of the most advanced and well-developed road network, which give seamless access to at least 3 national highways. The connections between one of the most dynamic township, Tembisa, with extensive history and rich culture, offering a great restaurant for cosmopolitan era, to OR Tambo via the Gauteng cements Ekurhuleni dynamics culture versatility. With its own characters and touch, the city of Ekurhuleni is ready to take its rightful place through its competitive advantage offered by the Aerotropolis. Distinguished guests, let me express our most sincere wish that the discussions, positive contribution, agreement will yield a clear pathway to set Ekurhuleni apart and above the choice for both international and local tourists. Once again, you are most welcome to the city of choice for both international. Thank you.
Thank you, MMC, for welcoming us and also for reminding us of Ekurhuleni and how much it has to offer. Now, I'd like to welcome Pagamile Mbengashe, who is the HOD for communication.
Of the city address in 2025, there was a clear indication that we need to revitalize tourism in the city. It's all common knowledge that COVID devastated our tourism industry, and I think that we haven't had a chance to reconnect ever since that moment. So and with the support of the acting city manager, we've been able to initiate a series of stakeholder engagements. Most of you were there. We heard your conversations. There was very honest input. It wasn't all roses, and we appreciate the honesty. It's the situation in terms of tourism. We need to have the honest conversation, and we need to hear it. But over and above that, this Indaba is a milestone. We want it to be a fork in the road to say, we came together as stakeholders and we said today that we're going to want it to be a fork in the road to say, we came together as stakeholders and we said today that we're going to revive. This is not the first and last Indaba. I was telling the team who have done a great job putting this together, last Indaba. I was telling the team who have done a great job putting this together that we must have regular tourism Indabas, even if it's every 3 years, so that we can track and hold ourselves accountable to say that we said we're going to do this, have we done it or have we not? But this is the reason why we're here. This is not a talk shop. There's going to be various discussions with professionals, experts, and yourselves, and we hope that we can give us input. From this engagement, we're going to take the input. We have people that are scribing all the conversations, and we're going to develop a tourism strategy. Not one developed by officials in the office. It's not a desktop exercise. It's true input that we received from US stakeholders. We said the situation must define the strategy. So when we meet as another tourism Indaba in 3 years, define the strategy. So when we meet as another tourism Indaba in 3 years' time, I think what we're going to be doing is talking about how we've progressed from where we are today. We thank you for your time. We apologize again for starting a bit late. I think the call time was a bit early with all the traffic issues, but I hope you all participate, give honest input, and we make this a successful Indaba. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pagamile, and it's good to know that the tourism strategy will be defined by all the stakeholders, and I, for myself, I look forward to the robust engagements that will come out of this, hearing you raise the issues, also make suggestions around how we can make tourism grow here in the city of Ekurhuleni. I would like us now to welcome the man who is hosting us here today, the executive mayor in the city of Ekurhuleni, Nkosinphile Xakaza. Can we please clap as we welcome the mayor?
Thank you very much, Program Director. I think thank you. Thank you very much, Program Director, Mr. Clement. I think you are on my side. And thank you for, because it's normally a tough day in the studio with you, making us account there in the 702. So I don't know what it means, this program. I'm sure it means a lot. 702 and the entire Prime Media, the group. They are here, they actually experience some of the work that we're doing. And at least this one, we're doing it jointly. So we'll have to review it and say, where is our project?
maybe in a year's time, just to check how far we've gone in terms of tourism attraction and the impact that it has to our economy. So I decided to dress nice. So I was looking for colors that resemble Ekurhuleni, and I'm sure you'll agree with us that probably that's what we must resolve in this Indaba. When we talk tourism, when we talk Ekurhuleni, what comes in mind? What defines us? What is a symbol that defines this great city? Of course, there's a big five here. It's a South African story. It's a beautiful South African story that is appreciated. But what makes us, within that story, us? Is it the airport? What sort of attraction that talks about us? But, yeah, and I'm sure those who are in the creatives, they are thinking deep. But Program Director, thank you very much for the opportunity. To the members of the Mayoral Committee that are here, the MMC of Corporate and Shared Services, and that is where the tourism departments lies. We've relocated it in the institutional review. We moved it from economic development. We put it together with corporate communications, marketing. So we felt that it is better placed here because it's about destination marketing. It's about us selling. We don't own the tourism products as a city. Even if we own them, sometimes we struggle to operate them. So we need the private sector to work with us to actually run these things. But all what we can do is to communicate on your behalf, is to say, this is Ekurhuleni, this is what we have, and all that. So that is why we then had to change, review our institutional arrangement, and repackage the tourism department under the corporate and shared services. So the MMC who's here, to all the councillors, the chairperson of the oversight committee, Councillor Matzi, and the acting city manager, and all, I'm told they are here. They must talk about, what is their plan to ensure that, they keep the city moving with the infrastructural development, whether it's issues of electricity, closing potholes, cutting the grass, making sure that the roads are smooth. If you want to go to some of our hotels here, you must not experience problems with the roads and all that. But importantly, the captains of industry and all the distinguished guests, because we are here about yourselves and all the activists or role players in the tourism space, the members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and a warm welcome to the inaugural Ekurhuleni Tourism Indaba. I was trying to recollect at some point inaugural, because there's been some conversation that we've had in the past. I know that we did the Ekurhuleni tourism strategy together. We came into one, and then we had that engagement. Most probably we need to refine that work and say, where is it? So that it's not just lying there, but it's able to guide collectively our work. The tourism sector is often viewed through a national lens, celebrated for its sprawling vineyards, iconic mountains, and vast game reserve. Yet, right here in the industrial and logistical heartland of our nation lies a powerful, often underestimated driver of economic growth and job creation, and that is the promise of tourism in Ekurhuleni. When we started the term of office, we started in April 2024. Our mission was to redefine Ekurhuleni's identity We are also known as the workshop of South Africa, but we must also be known as a premier destination. And our goal is to elevate the profile of tourism by supporting your efforts to grow the sector and demonstrating this growth and its profound impact on our local economy and communities. And this vision aligns perfectly with the national agenda as articulated by President Cyril Ramaphosa. The Government of National Unity has resolved to dedicate the next 5 years to 3 strategic priorities. 1 is to drive inclusive growth and job creations. 2 is to reduce poverty and tackle the high cost of living. And 3 is to build a capable, ethical, and a developmental state. And here in Ekurhuleni, we are active participants in this national vision. We are a critical engine for its success. Our growth and development strategy 2055 envision a smart, creative, and developmental city. And tourism is a golden thread that weaves through all these ambitions. It creates jobs, it alleviates poverty, and demands a capable state to provide infrastructure and safety that allows it to flourish. So tourism is a golden thread that waves through all these ambitions, and I think I want to just emphasize, it creates jobs, alleviates poverty, and demands a capable state to provide infrastructure and safety that allows it to flourish. And that's why we are taking a leading role in this conversation. I have not seen the list of who are the stakeholders that are here. Those who are representing the hotels industry, the tourism, different tourism products, including our townships. So what is the Ekurhuleni unique value proposition? And that is captured very well in the Retropolis Master Plan. The Retropolis Master Plan is about the uniqueness of our city. We are a home to the continent's busiest airport, the OR Tambo International Airport. And this is not just a transit point, it is Africa's gateway to opportunities. And for too long, we have seen millions of passengers land and depart without ever experiencing the richness of the city that hosts them. At some point, we're getting statistics. We're told that tourists or travelers, they only spend 1 night in Ekurhuleni, then they disappear. And we don't know why they only spend 1 night. I mean, they land, they sleep somewhere, then off they go. Probably the tourism practitioners, they'll tell us, they take them very far. They go and see the big 5 guy and all that. At some point, the city's leadership, they were talking about, we must establish a zoo. Now, others were critiquing it and saying, hey, what type of a dream is this one? We are dreaming very low, a zoo. But these things, they've got huge impact. You can't be a city, you don't have just a small thing like a zoo. What does it mean for just scholars, and all that? What does it mean for the communities of Tembisa when they want to go out? Where do they go? Just to attract communities from next door. It means all of us who must go to the next city next door, and all that. Now, that is why tourists will only spend 1 night here, because you don't have anything to offer. Or if you have, it is not well packaged. Nobody talks about it. Nobody promotes it. So that people, when they are here, they can then do something. So I'm sure that's a conversation that we want to drive, to say, where are these tourism products and how do we best package them? So what is our challenge? It remains our greatest opportunity, and that is to convert these passengers into tourists. Whether it will be for 4 hours layover or 3-day business trip, our city is rich with tourism offering for everyone. And I'm sure this is not a new statement. We've heard it time and again. But we can never give up until we realize, this goal. So Africa, or Ekurhuleni, is police, and this is our brand, our identity, our competitive advantage. We offering a competitive blend of industrial heritage, natural beauty, and modern infrastructure. So it's not just the airport, it's not just the major highways that are crisscrossing here, it's not just the rail network. Everybody travels and they pass this beautiful city. From the serene waters of Germiston Lake and the city, I'm sure our guys in environment, these serene waters, they must indeed be serene, of Germiston Lake. Past there, sometimes there's this growing grass, we call it Hansen. There's a word, strange word, and I think does strange things in terms of, polluting or corrupting. Let me use corrupting the water and all that. So to the biodiversity of Gorman's Board Sanctuary, to our world-class golf courses and the vibrant paths of our townships, Ekurhuleni has a story to tell. Beyond our industrial and logistical prowess, Ekurhuleni holds a sacred place in the heart of our nation's liberation story. Our city is not just named after a giant of our liberation, it is stepped in the very history of that struggle. We are the home of OR Tambo, whose internationalist vision is honored by the gateway that bears his name. We are the final resting place of great Krizane, whose tombstone and memorial in Boksburg is a site of solemn pilgrimage. The narrative of other icons like Mumama Aldile Tambo, Thomas Ngobi, are woven into the fabric of our communities. And I'm sure there's across the city that we must appreciate. So this is what makes our city and its richness. So the rich legacy presents a profound opportunity to develop a compelling heritage and a liberation tourism route. And I'm sure we've defined it at some point and said, but from the airport you land there, there's lineup of hotels, you sleep there, you move, there's a number of tourism products. Just next door, whether you want to do a pinball, what do you call it? Yeah, that pinball thing. Whether you want to do some driving of this and that, for all those, it is for us, for yourselves, to package them so that we can pronounce them. When we've got different platforms, we talk about them. I was saying to the guys, every day in Ekurhuleni there's conferencing. And the mayor is expected to address, every day I'm addressing different conferences. And the mayor is expected to address, every day I'm addressing different conferences. I'm welcoming delegates. And in that welcoming of delegates, there must be a section, those who write the speeches of the mayor, a section where I just talk about, please, during lunchtime, get into and go and see and do one or two things. And that's the challenge of what we must package, so that the mayor can then encourage all the delegates that are traveling, that are conferencing in our space, to go and experience the tourism products. So we can create immersive experiences that guides visitors from the airport to the very streets where freedom was forged, to the memorials that honor their ultimate sacrifices, that is, those heroes and heroines. And this is a story of resilience, a story of triumph that we must share, we must share with the world. And indeed, we are a city of makers, innovators, and pioneers. Let us now become a city of host, of storytellers, and guides. So from the tourism strategy that we have, let's dust that strategy, refresh it, and then, and that's our role. We must, as government, spend a bit of money, invite you to this conversation, and yours is to identify, and develop those tourism products. They're already there. Bring them to the fore, and then let's agree that indeed the tourism route is this one in Ekurhuleni. I was telling some youngsters, saying, we don't even have a tourism bus, just a bus for sightseeing. I have been to just Johannesburg. We don't even have a tourism bus, just a bus for sightseeing. I have been to just Johannesburg, you see a bus. Oman has been reprioritized. Sometimes communities, they protest this. They toy in Bedford View, they want water. In Bedford View, they want water. They say, we want the reservoir now. So there's a pressure, we take the money, we go and finalize the reservoir, expedite it and all that. So it means you must then be innovative. You are entrepreneurs. Go and get money elsewhere. We have a strategy. You take the other. There's a lot of creatives that are, actually happening in our space. So this then affirms that let us now become a city of hosts, of storytellers and guides. So what is our tourism landscape? While the city-specific data is often nested with provincial statistics or within the provincial statistics, the sheer scale of our assets give us a clear picture of our potential. One, we are a gateway to the nation. Our Tambo International Airport processes over 21 million passengers annually. 21 million passengers. And that was before the pandemic. At some point, we're projecting 27. This is where we're going with those passengers that are transiting our space. And that, of course, was affected by the COVID and is rapidly returning to, there was a statistics, some report that was given by the CEO lately of the annual results of AXA. They were talking about 19 million. So let's agree that we're going back there. So passengers are using that space, and that is the airport. So if we capture just a small fraction of these travelers for a one night, the sheer scale of our assets give us a clear picture of our potential. One, we are a gateway to the nation. Our Tambo International Airport processes over 21 million passengers annually. This industry was valued the pandemic. At some point, we're projecting 27, 29 million. We're saying estimated 122 billion rands in 2023, with venues like Emperor's Palace and our strategic location. Ekurhuleni is a major player in this space. We are the #1 meeting and conference destination in Africa. So if we are a #1 meeting and conference destination in Africa, this means our city is at the heart of this success. I'm saying lately of the annual results of AXA, they were talking about 19 million. The 2023-2024 financial year, South Africa won 19 international bids to events, and many of those delegates land and stay here. We capture just in Ekurhuleni. Our goal is to make Ekurhuleni the default choice for major conferences and exhibition. We're fighting just now for G20. We're told, no, G20 is fought. We're going to that meeting again at 2 o'clock were fighting. So we said, and other attractions that will actually benefit and just disappear to Tshwane and Johannesburg, and nothing happens with us. It means we're good for giving what do you call it, escort. Our EMPD, they must escort delegates. They go, off they go. So, but we're happy that we're given the business and events hub. So nationally, this industry was valued at an estimated 122 billion rands in 2023, with venues like Emperor's Palace, and our strategic location, Ekurhuleni, is a major player in this space. We are the #1 meeting and conference destination in Africa. Now, why is the mayor paying so much money for a social summit? Then there's a fight. Then the mayor might even lose his job. So we must be careful. So we're navigating that to say, we fought for it, but they said, no, let's see. And they say, but cut your grass and do all those things. But ours is to demonstrate the return on investment. Is to say our city is at the heart of this success. I'm saying, our contribution as a city, 2023-2024 financial year, South Africa won 19 international bids to host a major, and many of those delegates land and stay here in Ekurhuleni. Our goal is to make Ekurhuleni the default choice for major conferences and exhibition. We're fighting just now for G20. We're told, no, G20 is Johannesburg and so on. Hey, we fought. We're going to that meeting again at 2 o'clock. We're fighting. So we said, no, but you can't land here. And in Tshwane, let's make the short left a trip to Boksburg, a trip to Springs, to Tembisa or Kempton Park. If you want people to go to the Jimistin Theatre, to Mimasilela Theatre, state of the art, we put up a lot of money as a city there to invest in that theatre. But that money, that facility can remain a white elephant if we don't clear the surroundings. We allow illegally hijack buildings. They hijack building next door, they do wrong activities. You can't take your kids there too, because you are not sure. You park there, you are inside. When you come out, you are not sure. But also, when you watch a theater, you must get some popcorns. Okay, I'm sure when you go to a cinema, it's popcorns. I'm not sure what we eat in a theater. So whatever, there must be the surroundings. So the point is that if there's no safety, and all that, then there's an issue. So when we fight to push back against illegal things that are happening in Jerusalem, people fight. But ours is to demonstrate the return on investment. Is to say we bidded for it, it came here. What does it mean? Did it benefit the communities of Daveyton across our township and suburb here? So our goal is to make Ekurhuleni the default choice for major conferences and exhibitions. So we are #3, a domestic powerhouse. Gauteng is the engine for domestic tourism. In South Africa, we recorded 38 million domestic trips nationally in 2023. A significant portion of these travelers live within an hour drive of our city. We must aggressively market our local attraction, our weekend getaways and unique experiences to our neighbors in Johannesburg and in Tshwane. Let's make the short left a trip to Boksburg, a trip to Springs, to Tembisa or Kempton Park. But of course, if you want people to go to the Jimistin Theatre, to Mimasilela Theatre, state of the art, we put up a lot of money as a city there to invest in that theatre. But that money, that facility can remain a white elephant if we don't clear the surroundings. We allow illegally hijack buildings. They hijack building next door, they do wrong activities. You can't take your kids there too, because you are not sure. You park there, you are inside. When you come out, you are not sure. But also, when you watch a theater, you must get some popcorns. Okay, I'm sure when you go to a cinema, it's popcorns. I'm not sure what we eat in a theater. So whatever, there must be the surroundings. So the point is that if there's no safety, and all that, then there's an issue. So when we fight to push back against illegal things that are happening in Jerusalem, people fight back. So, but we can't give on the fight because the responsibility is on government to ensure that those spaces, they are conducive so that we can then compete. When we do the botanic gardens, we turn Kalulus, because everybody there, they even put a giant billboards there, an illegal billboards, because they thought the municipality is not using that space. But we're happy now that the item came to council, it's been approved. We will be advertising that space to do what we call botanic. Yeah. Be careful, media guys. I know you are can be very dangerous. So the botanic garden. So it is out, that land parcel. We will soon be advertising those who must assist us. That land parcel is very beautiful. It's a park, and this 5-year plan, it demonstrates that it cannot be business as usual. And this Indaba marks the start of this new aggressive and collaborative approach. As I've indicated, we must focus on the safety and security. We must ensure that the safety of our visitors is non-negotiable, that our EMPD, they do their work, they work with the dedicated tourism monitors at key tourism sites. The visitor feels secured. Infrastructure and beautification to be a destination. We must also look like one. Our 5-year plan includes significant investment in upgrading and maintaining key tourism infrastructure. This includes beautifying the major arteries from OR Tambo, investing on our public parks and lakes, ensuring that our heritage sites are well maintained and accessible. And we've been talking about this for quite some time. Something must give. We said we can't run the tourism narrative, the OR Tambo Narrative Center. We're working there, not for leisure. We went there to work. I felt a strain. And then they said, no, go to the site and then book a massage happening there. And it's because at the airport, you want to rent a space there, they tell you, no, we give you this one in the corner. I know that there was an opening. They announced to us, AXA, they said they are opening up all the spaces, all the shops. I'm not sure if they've closed them now. They were saying they are opening them up for competition. Close them now. They were saying they are opening them up for competition. Locals must come and bid. And I'm sure we can also bid for a better space there. This must come and bid. And I'm sure we can also bid for a better space there as Ekurhuleni city. So you need to be creative there, our teams. So in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, tourism is a vital sector for Ekurhuleni. It is essential for economic growth, for job creations, and our city's very identity. I'm raising my voice because I don't want to leave you here not energized. So while national and global trends are encouraging, we must pedal faster to catch that wave. The spending by tourists is high, and our contribution to the provincial GDP can be much greater. We are a value for money destination with untapped potential. So this Indaba is our line in the sand. It is the most we decide to work together. Is our line in the government and the private sector with a collaboration will determine our success, and as a powerful testament to our growing stature. It is a moment we decide to work together, city government and the private sector with a single-minded focus. Our collaboration will determine our success, and as a powerful testament to our growing stature on the world stage. I am thrilled to officially announce that this coming November, the city of Ekurhuleni will be the proud host to the G20 Social Summit. So this prestigious event, a key forum within the G20 framework, will bring together global leadership.
This 20-minute tea break, just do a walkabout. There's different exhibitions here. And get some of your issues and inputs ready as well. Thank you very much.
Component to it has two levels to it. One is the city development in terms of looking at what type of city do we want to live in the next 10, 20, 30, even 50, 100 years. And then the second component to it focuses largely in terms of compliance, regulations, and so on. This is where we manage land uses. For example, in terms of the Metropolitan Spatial Development Framework, the different portions of the city in the 6 regions. The land usage is designated for different type of capability. We have the main critical one, which is the urban edge. This is an intervention to protect strategic agricultural land and their developments which are high value and so on are not allowed. Agriculture is a very critical component in terms of food security and the likes. However, within, we are then looking at unlocking potential for future development. And this potential talks to the establishment of what we call tourism, the urban edge. We are then looking at unlocking potential for future development. And this potential talks to the establishment of what we call tourism products. One of the issues that tourism products. We fortunate that we have some of the big activities that are happening in terms of the hospitalities that have come to us. We fortunate that we have some of the big activities that are happening. your Emperor's Palace, your St. Andrews, your Birchwood, the most recent one, the Radissons, the Kopanong, and all of those. Those are very critical components in terms of making sure that we have a strong presence from a tourism point of view. However, the critical area is that hospitality on its own, it's not, you need to then link from a tourism point of view, investigating for the city of Ekurhuleni, but broadly within investigating the Gauteng city region, is the concept of economic partnership. Cape Town came together through the air access approach, where they took advantage of the airport and the fact that they can club together in terms of their resources, attract airliners to fly directly to Cape Town. Club together in terms of their resources, attract airliners to fly directly to Cape Town. Because once these airliners land in Cape Town, the beneficiary then becomes the hospitality assets. And they've done that model and it's working pretty well. And we have looked at that, we have studied that, and we believe that in Gauteng specifically, leveraging Ekurhuleni, we have that capability to do so. But all of this are only possible if Ekurhuleni, we have that capability to do so. But all of this are only possible if with a shared vision and shared purpose. With a shared vision and shared purpose. And that then allows for the redirection of investment resources into making sure that as much as we invest in tourism products, we also make sure that the infrastructure that is there is enabling. But key to that, as we run programs relating to city development and so on, we must also, council has given us about secure precincts approval so one of the programs that we will be launching around about November, council has given us, it will be the Germiston precinct, we have the Bradell precinct, we have different type of precincts. So the program that we are now implementing now is to go to the private sector and invite the private sector to bid for any of these 18 precincts. The essence of this sector and invite the private sector to bid for any of these 18 precincts. The essence of these precincts is you bring in developers who will then, you have a balance of commercial, recreational, and design the precinct in such a way that you have a balance of commercial, recreational, and other different activities, but more importantly, building around a secure environment, making sure that the safety, the security, people feel safe to operate in that particular instance. And strategic partnerships and resources, feeding on private sector, that we are able to bring different ideas, top players, especially yourselves, to be awake to this type of opportunities, because it is through this mobilization of strategic partnerships and resources and catalyze. So we've seen in areas where, for example, strategic assets are located, let's say Emperor's Palace. It is in the best interest of Emperor's Palace to have a precinct that represent the quality that they want to project nationally, regionally, internationally. The same discussion we are having with the owners of the Radisson Hotel, the same discussion we are having with the owners of Birchwood, of Emperor's Palace, to have a precinct that represent convention center in the Birchwood precinct, to say it is in the best interest that we look regionally, international precinct. So the same
I was alluding to. So we need to have consistent and predictable collection, which keeps our cities very, very clean. Unfortunately, what we've seen in a lot of the CBDs is sort of illegal dumping that happens, hotspots, people dumping that happens, hotspots, people don't adhere to the waste services requirements, Instead of using the 240-litre diamonds, instead of using the 240-litre bin receptacles that we provide as a city, they use black plastic bags and they leave this on the curbside and expect collection on a daily basis. The provision is maybe only once a week. So there needs to be some kind of curatorship between us as a department and the citizens so that they're all aware of the services that we provide holistically. The third thing is obviously the prioritization of the environment. I think this goes a long way. Our executive mayor spoke at length about the lakes and dams and the beauty that we have in the region. We support unimaginable bird life in the city of Ekurhuleni. We've got unimaginable bird life in the city of Ekurhuleni. We've got migratory birds that come in and out of our city on a yearly basis, and some of these things are just undervalued within the city and within the tourism sector holistically. So there's a lot of opportunity there, but we need partnerships, and again, we need to create these spaces that are safe, that are livable, and that they conform with both the environmental requirements in terms of stewardship as well as the requirements from citizens' perspective. So communities must own their environment basically, and they must own their environment basically, and they must feel that they belong and they are part of the environment. The trees, the birds, the wetlands, the frogs, all of them have some kind of component and aspect to play in terms of this whole process of the environment that we live in. So in terms of that, we've developed a number of various plans. We've got the integrated waste management plan that we've just taken out for public participation. A lot of people would have seen some awareness notices go out on that day. We're at the final process now and it'll be approved by council. Earlier this year, we approved the climate change strategy for the city of Ekurhuleni, which is a landmark document. It basically sets city of Ekurhuleni on par with any international city across the globe in terms of our ambitions towards addressing climate change for the region. And then in addition to that, we've got a Green Cities Action Plan, which looks at our industries, looks at our city region, and tries to mitigate the pollution that are coming out of our industries, as well as the pollution that's created by our citizens, managing that waste properly, managing land degradation, managing air pollution and water pollution in a significant way. My last statement then would be tourism and waste management are not separate silos. They are partners in building a cleaner, greener, and more welcoming Ekurhuleni. A tourist experience begins the moment they land at OR Tambo and step onto our streets. If those streets are not clean, walkable, and green, we not only meet our environmental and service delivery targets, but we also unlock jobs, attract investment, and strengthen civic pride. In this way, sustainable waste management becomes the foundation for a thriving tourism economy and a more livable city for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. My name is Jerry Chaka. I'm in charge of the Community Services Department. That's a department in terms of our role in the cities that we are responsible for the sports facilities in the city, and we are responsible to ensure that we maintain those sporting facilities so that whoever wants to use those facilities, whether it's the tourist or our own communities within the city, they are up to standard. And I would mention some of the sporting facilities just for you to understand which sporting facilities are we talking about. One of the sporting facilities is the Kempton Park golf course. You remember that that's the golf course that actually produced, golfers like any else where he started his profession, and we still, as a city, maintaining those kind of golf courses. And the other one is the Makulong Stadium in Tembisa. We are running that stadium. You remember during the 2010 World Cup, the North Korea club was actually hosted at this particular stadium throughout the duration of the World Cup 2010. And that's one of the facility that we also want to improve, because lately we got a result that there might be a dolomite problem in that area, but we're still looking at the second opinion that could confirm that. And our national teams are seriously also looking at using or utilizing that particular stadium. And we also have the Delville swimming pool, which has hosted a number of national as well as international, competitions. And we are also ensuring that that swimming pool is up to scratch in terms of its condition to host. We also have the Germiston Stadium. In the Germiston Stadium, we have tracks, athletic tracks where athletics can be hosted. A number of variety of athletic competitions are hosted at that particular stadium. And those are our sporting facilities. But when you talk to the cultural facilities in the city, the Codesa Walkway, the Springs Military Museum, it's also our responsibility to ensure that these facilities are maintained in a good state so that whenever our tourists are coming through, they should be able to see, these facilities that are actually in a very good state. We also having the Chris Hani Memorial as part of our responsibility, as well as the O.R. Tambo Cultural Precinct and Narrative Center, where we are able then to draw our, tourists to, and so that we also showcase what we have as a city. Over and above these facilities that I've spoken about, we are also responsible for the health facilities in the city. We are running 77 clinics all over the city, and we are actually being assisted because part of the responsibilities of these health facilities is not only the city, but it's also the province. So we are jointly assisting the province in terms of ensuring good standards of health services for the communities of Ekurhuleni, as well as the tourists, so that when they visit our facilities, they are able to appreciate the standard of our facilities. We also are responsible for food safety in the city, that is in terms of all the food markets and our general dealers, our pick and pays, you name them. We have to ensure that all those food that is exposed for sale in those premises are fit for human consumption. And where there are challenges in terms of interventions that we need to do, we actually act very quickly to ensure that we ensure that the food is in a good state. We also, on routine basis, conduct what we call food sampling, just to ensure that the standard is safe for human consumption. And I think those are the areas of our competence in the SA department.
And please let's, I'll give you about a minute and a half to make your point, so that we give as many people as possible an opportunity to make inputs and ask their questions.
Hello. Good day, everyone. My name is Dondo Ditebe from the... I'm very pleased.
So we'll take three this side, go to the middle, that side.
Our input is that we have heard from the mayor's speech that some areas have open deck buses, local tours. So how about from the fleet we have with Harambee, take one bus, community
tour together and go to these places where we claim that we can take tourists to. Yes, our mayor has said today, most of the tourists are coming to land here and go elsewhere. It's because we guys are not doing our jobs. It's about time that we stop these talk shops, these Indabas, and all this what we're doing, and put on boots and overalls. Go back to work. Shift the comrades. Shift the tender systems. Come with the guys that are willing to work, especially us who are in the tourism sector. I own Quality Pub and Grill. Most of the time, EMPD guys come to my place. They go past those foreigners that are selling food in the street, those that are not compliant, and they eat there and come to my establishment to close it because of the vent. You see, those things, those smaller things, are the things that are making us suffer. And we've got the problem also with entering the market. The red tape. Whenever we want funding, you want izinto eziningi ezidlula neBhayibheli. Somebody will translate that. And that is causing us not to be in business. You see, most of the guys that are selling drugs today, they're selling drugs and they're not supposed to sell drugs. Those people are not supposed to sell drugs. But because of you guys sitting there wearing suits, I'm making sure that we don't get to business. So we're here in this Indaba to talk. One thing that we must do, make sure as we get out of this Indaba, you don't sit in your offices. Let's go and work. Come to the communities. 1, 2, make sure the places, maintenance. The guy spoke about the maintenance. They are maintaining what. Even the guys that is from the roads, he did not know how to save himself. Because the standard of the streets that we have here are appalling. Everything that we have here is Ziawa. Yeah, now Dr. Kagaza himself last week came in, go social media and said, Ekurhuleni will be a foreigners-free township. But we've got a problem. Angatibona, they are being supported more than us. Because even the businesses that you are happy with now, you're counting about Galaga Estates and all those, you don't know even who owns those businesses. They are sitting there, estates, while Kumalo, that owns Imautu, Guest Lab and all that. It's not even a good story to tell about here. So please, can we go out and work?
Thank you. My name is Jimmy Matsango. Actually in a transport, but I want to specifically ask Mr. Chauke. We've got a development in our township, wet water, we can't get sewer because of a certificate. They said we must get that certificate. I've been to estate planning, I've been to your department, they take me forth and back, and I don't know now what to do. So actually, the last straw that I must hire my own contractor to go and dig outside of my property so that they can connect water and sewer. I don't know how to is that. And I really need today to get to the point where you can help me. And lastly, you said because of a development strategy that we have a problem when there's a sewer blockage. We're running a restaurant as well. When there's a sewer blockage, sometimes it takes about 4 to 5 days to come and unblock, and we cannot sell or do our business because of the sewer running down the stream of the road. So it's another challenge. We cannot develop, we cannot do business. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Dineo. I'm from Tukatli Business Enterprises and Projects. I'm in hospitality. This one goes to Mr. Chaka. Mr. Chaka, if you can come to our townships, come to Ekwatema. The Ekwatema Stadium, it's very filthy. Ingolile, Every year there's Ekurhuleni games to keep those kids busy. Stadium, its field is dirty because you guys, you don't come and check. And also the golf course in Springs, East Springs Golf Course next to Selection Park, it's also filthy, it's dirty. There's no even a fence surrounding. So please, if you guys can come to the township and check those things, thank you.
Greetings. My name is Matapelo Mpaka from Whiteville Tourism and Heritage Association. My questions are, when it comes to Mr. Hlonolo, the roads and transport, my question is why Harambee is only available in Tembisa and also it's gonna be available in Vosloorus? What about the rest of the city? Because the rest of us, we also would love to use those kinds of transport. And my other question, it comes to the waste management. We have a precinct in Whiteville, which is a stadium, which is always clean, but the problem is our kids can't have access to it. They are not using it. It's always locked. And the last one is the OR precinct. The other problem is when you book it for it, when you get there, there's never electricity there. And the other thing about also our precinct, the other problem is always when we want to go there, sometimes you get tourists out of the blue, they just want to roam around and see the president, but they can't get access because it's always locked and you have to book a week in advance. Sometimes it's a last minute thing. Why must it always have to be booked? Why can't you book it a day before or even the same day saying there are some tourists coming? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we'll get some responses before we get to the other questions. There are a lot of questions that came through. I'll remind some of you about the questions. Mr. Ditebe was speaking about using your own infrastructure, maybe the buses from within the city, use that. And then Trina spoke about youth being underrepresented, especially focusing on the creative industry. Mr. Mazibuko was talking about the standard of the municipality and how appalling it is. Most parks are ill-run, but I think the main issue he was raising is also around the red tape. So any of you can take that. Mr. Chauke, there was a specific question for you around the development of services. A development, I think Mr. Masango spoke about, and how there is a certificate that is required. And then also raise questions around the sewer. So Mr. Akun, you can take that, and it takes a couple of days to resolve. There was another question around the stadiums. I think Mr. Chaka, you
with it. This meeting is meant to do so that as you are most welcome to do so. But where you need to hold hands, you need to also come to the party. Because I can tell you one advice for free. We can specifically on the project that you are talking about, the development, I'll want to get specific information because from what you are sharing, I can't point fingers at each other. Me with details, but giving you a sense in terms of how the process works, as you would know, for you to develop anything anywhere in the country, there are requirements. There's national building regulations that you must meet. There's issues of zone, there's issues of occupation certificate, there's issues of consent use, there's different type of issues. And what you don't want to do, you don't want to create an environment where it is a free-for-all because everything must be regulated. For you to bring in tourism into a development which has not been approved, you run the risk of, should anything happen to those tourism, the exposure is then unlimited. And to a great extent, we will also be party to that exposure in that the question will be asked to say, how did you allow this operation to proceed when you know that the building plans have not been approved? So, much as we don't want to use a stick, we are now coming with an incentive approach to say, can we meet each other halfway? We will assist where we need to assist you, where there's encroachment, where there's illegal usage of land uses and all, we will assist. But we also need you to also come to the party. My last issue, linking to the first issue that I've raised. We have taken a posture as the city to say, with all of the properties, assets that we own, we will not be in a position to take good care of them to the quality that is expected. So the position that we are selling now and we are presenting to yourself is that we are now engaged in a process where we are releasing some of these facilities. There are parks that we will take full responsibilities in terms of running them, but there are parks that we're in the process now of releasing them to different developers, people who run events, people who will want to build businesses around them. And that's the conversation that we want to bring to potential. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chairperson. There's one question with regards to Harambe Pass that might do a tour. If I can just give a background, the Harambe operations are funded by the National Department of Transport, Transport Network Grant, which has got through public transport network grant, which has got condition a tour bus using the grant. So rather procure a bus, as my colleague has also alluded to that, and they would rather procure a bus, as my colleague has also alluded to that. And then number two, in terms of Harambe is phased. There's phase one, which starts from Tembisa, which is supposed to end in Vosloorus. We're going to also have phase number 2 from Benoni, and also phase number 3, which is, the plan is it must just go throughout the whole city. But just the phase 1 that we're still busy with now. And then with regards to the gentleman, my apologies, sir, for my speech. I'm not a good talker when it comes to public speaking, but it's something I'm working on. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Thank you very much again for the questions. I think a good set of questions all around, and we're very fortunate to have this kind of sounding board when we're sitting here in the front. So we did come dressed up in our suits, and we apologize for that. Next time we'll wear overalls to make it more comfortable for everybody in the room. Just in terms of some of the questions around waste that were raised, there was one on water and sanitation, which is not really my department, but obviously there are platforms that you need to report on if your waste is not collected, if there is sewer flowing down the road. We've got Ekurhuleni call center, we've got an Ekurhuleni app, and we do have service standards that our job as local government is to provide services to the people. But I think what we find is that of money, we create a lovely park, we create a lovely environment, there's a recreational place for citizens to utilize, and within a few months, not even years, that space has completely degraded. The fences has been a few months, not even years, that space has completely degraded. The fences has been stoled, the metal has been reclaimed for scrap metal usage. The grass has even been lifted, and some of the bricks and sanitation. Completely reutilized. Blocks that we've put in place has in another space, in an informal settlement or somewhere else. So how do we, as a public then, as public citizens, as all part of this community, start taking public accountability? Because that's what's lacking in our nation, and it's a South African problem. It's not an African problem. I've been to other African cities. They take public accountability. If somebody go and put it into a bin, but walks past and they throw their litter on the street, here in South Africa, we lack that public account. Go and put it into a bin. But
food safety as well in the street. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's start over here. Please remember to keep it sharp and quick.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Marang Pindela. I'm representing my company, Flavorful Kitchen by Marang. We offer services of private dining and a lot, actually. Unfortunately, Ekurhuleni isn't my market. I think maybe because of how things are set at the moment. Ekurhuleni isn't a city that hosts a lot. I mean, we can see it with this Indaba, with the catering, not to be speaking bad or anything, but we're just not used to hosting. And I'm glad we're having this Indaba because of how tourism has been set out now, us going back to the numbers and seeing what needs to be done and not what needs to be fixed. Recently, I attended a chef conference. It was in Sandton, and there were a lot of discussions. One thing I've picked up is that when we speak about hoteliers, we speak a lot about the big groups. We don't speak about the small groups. When I talk about small groups, I'm talking about your township hotels. We don't really have that much. I'm from Ekurhuleni. I know we used to have Ikosi City. I don't know if it's still there. But what I'm trying to say is that if we are focusing a lot on the big groups, then the small people from the townships won't be developed. We won't be benefiting. I mean, we like spatial planning. We all have to climb a taxi and go work in Sandton because that's where the market is. Ekurhuleni has so much to offer. I mean, Heidelberg on its own is very big and spacious. Maybe we can look into that market also. I think that we also need to fix a lot of internal problems. With internal problems at early child development, kids just litter around. As here in South Africa, we have a littering problem. I'm creating jobs for someone to come and pick that up. I mean, really, if we have that mentality, then clearly our cities will always be filthy. Going back to stadiums, I heard you mentioning, one of the speakers mentioning about attracting tourists to stadiums. How about we fix problems at schools? This would probably fall under social. Fix problem at schools, have kids to do sports, not just at stadiums, but within the schools, because already we have a lot of problems with kids using drugs and so forth because of boredom and lack of knowledge. There's a lot of gatekeeping. I was fortunate enough, I'm privileged, I don't wanna lie. I'm privileged, I studied at the International Hotel School to become a chef, and I'm exposed to that market. So in Sandton, you find that there's so many opportunities because there's a bigger market there. But here in Ekurhuleni, we're just faced with having to do small programs which don't really benefit us, and we end up being over-incubated and we don't actually get funding. Last year, I applied for funding to go to China. I only wanted 30,000. I didn't receive a response. I literally had to come here and I still didn't get what I needed. So Ekurhuleni, can we just go back to working with the people, not against people? I'm glad we're having this Indaba because with also tourism, when people come into our townships, there's not even a sign that says, "Welcome to Ekurhuleni." Let's bring in the people, invite them with a warm invite and not just say, "Come to Ekurhuleni." Can we also focus on hoteliers? Can we have more hotels in townships and not just the Birchwoods and the OR Tambos? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. My name is Lakilu Kele from Davidton, from the Indaba Enterprise and Ditseho Toy. Mine is too painful. As I come from Davidton, Benoni, we have Benoni, we have Benoni Plaza, but when you can go to Benoni Plaza today, sure, you will cry, you will feel shame. It's run by the Nigerians. Those flats that we are supposed to collaborate to give it to the tourism, but the Nigerians are owning those flats in Benoni. Could you please, real estate, assist us to get those flats to make the rendering to our people? And lastly, in Davidton, we have a stadium that was created by Benoni up the rabbits. Chiefs were playing there, even Banyana is playing there, but now it's doom. nothing we can do about it. And another, we had a house there in the enter of Indaba Stadium and Mighty Stadium. There's a house that is demolished. Can you please make it a point that we can have a pictures of the history of Davidton, that we can come among the tourists? That might plea to the real estate and transport management. Thank you.
Sorry, let's keep it this way. We'll come back here.
Oh,
Just there's the last one there, and then we'll go that side.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Thabo from Katlehong. I'm a former chairperson of KKT. Okay, Katoras Khotso Tourism. I'm sorry, Lebu. Okay, I'm from a company called Katoras Outdoor Adventure Club. So I've been having challenges with regards to the love of outdoor adventure tourism within the space of Ekurhuleni. It's been very difficult to do packages that bring hello? Okay, that bring economical development back into Ekurhuleni. So I would normally do packages that would maybe run all the way to Heidelberg. There's what's that? Sekerbos, thank you. And then I would also go to the Val to be able to host my packages, of which it doesn't bring back to where I'm from. So I need to know what would be the plan to assist in that. And then number two would be, we've had Barake Nyoni Park that received development in terms of renovations. Currently, Geditzelan is receiving renovations. What is the mandate around that? Because those are some of the spaces that we would love to utilize for whatever packages that we have, especially the outdoor activities and outdoor adventure activities. And then I loved what Ndate said there in terms of full ownership. Full ownership, that addresses to say, as communities, we need to take care of our facilities so that they don't get dilapidated to a point that they can't be utilized. So an idea around that is that we have LTAs, which are beneficiaries, again, of the tourism departments. How about those LTAs become, caretakers of those particular facilities in support of this very same, point to say full ownership. LTAs are from those particular townships, and they would take better care for those facilities. And LTAs are within the tourism space, rather than a security that we don't know where they are coming from. They just got a tender to come and look after the facility, but they might not be actually from that particular township. So LTAs are born and bred, and they have the love of that particular facility. So it's just a suggestion. One last item that I'd like to speak to is what Ndate raised there in terms of a small space of land that can be developed to be able to use for good reasons within the tourism space. I applied for space for economical development reasons. It's in Vosloorus. In 2021, the wait of applying for a land lease takes forever. Till today, I'm still waiting. I've made follow-ups on that, and till now. Even the idea that was there, we were doing, what was that, the flea markets. We were doing the flea markets for SMMEs within the tourism space, heritage space, and so forth. We were using a private space, somewhere Anka there in Spruit View. It's small, and that idea was growing. We needed a bigger space, but till today, that idea is fading out. With that being said, I'd like to say thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tabang Silepe. Come from Togoza. I represent a company called 088 Media. Firstly, I would like to answer Executive Mayor when he was speaking here. He asked a question saying that what is the attraction? So my answer to that question is, we are the attraction. These are just walls. We are the attraction. So by me saying that is that we have to develop the culture or the people to be familiar with tourism. We are here in Ekurhuleni. People don't travel here in Ekurhuleni. Why? It's because we don't have attractions. I come from Togoza. Opposite Togoza is Katlehong. Katlehong used to have a place called Paragon. And that place got disturbed during the 90s wars. And we've never had a place like that. I am a filmmaker. I need a space where I can exhibit my work. And me exhibiting my work is me also taking part in tourism and developing tourism. Because the world, like I would quote one of my favorite artists, KRS-One. He has a song called "The World Is Mind." In order for you to do something, it has to start here. You have to imagine it. You have to know that one day I want to travel to Davidton, because Davidton has a fashion museum, if that's your interest. So firstly, we have to develop domestic tourism in order for us to be like experts in tourism as well. I'm speaking in a perspective of a small business as well, because I aim to grow in tourism. Because I don't only want to exhibit movies. I want to partake in tourism. I want to travel as well. I want to go to Davidton. I want to go to Tsakani. I want to travel Ekurhuleni. But how do I travel to around Ekurhuleni? By displaying my art, by showing my art to other people, showing them that in Togoza, this is what we have. This is our culture. When you enter Alberton, there's dancers, boys who dance. I don't know if they still do that. They use crates. Sometimes I want to take them and say, guys, come, let's make a production. But funding is sometimes a problem, and I have to run everything on my own pocket. In terms of like facilities where we can, I'm a startup business, where I can start my operations as a business. What can I do to get help in terms of that? Thank you.
Tuli Mashazi. Thank you. My name is Tuli Mashazi. I'm a high school teacher. I teach grade 12 somewhere in Boksburg. And I have a privilege of being in this meeting because I'm also an author. I have written 6 books to date. I like what you said, sir, because that was one of my points. One of my points was, let's turn our children into tourists. Because what I see in the classroom every day is a frustrated child. And imagine if every year there's a place to go to. Grade 1 is going to Heidelberg, grade 2 is going to the Gautrain, grade 3 is going to Africa Mall, great, every year you know there's somewhere to go to. We are also injecting the economy because parents would rather take their child for a trip than buy a uniform. I'm talking about what I'm seeing in the classroom. So I would love to inspire, if maybe donate the idea to the powers that be. Turn all these kids into tourists. Let them grow up with a memory of somewhere where they went. Design a model that you will pitch to the schools so that these kids know that they can go somewhere. And then the second thing is the harnessing of gifts. I didn't see poetry here, and the culture of poetry is dying. And I think it ties in with tourism, because when we gather people, there will be a need for performance. And poets are the people who speak the mind of the community. So maybe the fathers must harness the poets. Some of these boys who are loitering in our corners, walking with eyes closed, they are poets, great poets with great poems. They just never had a platform. So, thank you.
Thank you, Program Director. My name is Jongi Ganyile from the Gauteng Department of Economic Development. Mine is just an input. Gauteng has got a very rich mining history and a lot of mining facilities that lie idle. And I believe that that history can be used to attract tourists, and those facilities can be utilized as tourism attraction facilities. People like me utilized as tourism attraction facilities. People like me from other provinces and people from other countries who have never been to a mine, I'm sure they'd be interested in visiting mining areas, mining facilities that have been converted and repurposed to promote tourism in the province and specifically in Ekurhuleni. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me just give them the opportunity to respond and then we'll come through. There was a question about Ekurhuleni not being used to hosting, a lot of focus on township hotels, focus on these small groups and not just the big businesses. A question around the flats owned by foreign nationals there in the Benoni Plaza area. And there was a suggestion around the history of Davidton and showcasing that. There was another question around land that can be developed for use for tourism. Someone who applied for land lease space, I think in False Loras, which then links to another question around facilities to start operating. How do you go for land lease?
Some of these facilities are for commercial purposes. Some of these facilities are for commercial purposes. So which means that much as we will negotiate with you in terms of the policy allows for what we call segmentation. If you lease a council policy, as long as you can demonstrate that the policy, as long as you can demonstrate that the service or the activity that you are going to be running in that facility are for the benefit of the community, we have authority to give you as far as 90% discount on what the rental is payable. I think what we need to do, and we are now rolling out the program where we're going to be workshopping different communities on the lease policy, because I think you need to understand the lease policy and the tenets of that lease policy and the provisions that have been made in that lease policy to enable that. The second issue is when you identify a piece of land and you have confirmed that is a municipal owned property or a piece of land, the nearest office, you need to go to the nearest CCA office. There is a property office there. But what tends to be a challenge is that, like the gentleman at the back, you go to Foslora's office, You've applied, I take it you've applied, you filled in the form, you've attached all of the SDP, the zoning document, you've supplied that. What I've picked up is that the very few people will wait for them to receive a letter of acknowledgement. I want to maybe test, did you receive a letter of acknowledgement after you've submitted that? Okay, I need a copy of that letter of acknowledgement because then it enables me to track to the office to say, this gentleman applied in 2021, why is it that in 2025, 2026, nothing has happened? Then we hold people accountable. But until such time, that application will stay under the radar. It's not supposed to be. One of the changes that we have now introduced is that all of the CCAs will have a register of all applications. So which means that on a monthly basis, I as the HOD will be able to hold each office accountable to say, there's 10 applications for this piece of land. Why is it that only one has been processed? And the other issue, as I emphasize the issue of the policy now gives you power as an applicant. The policy says your application must be finalized in 120 days. So if it is not finalized in 120 days, you have the right to demand an explanation why it is not finalized in 120 days. And this is applications that don't have contestation. I need to put that. The policy says where you are applying and there's no contestation, the policy empowers us to give that property directly to you. However, where you're applying and there's contestation, the policy says we must put it on public tender. So we've also put a caveat on public tender to say the process of public tender with all its complication and so on must also be finalized within 180 days. If it is not finalized within 180 days, as an applicant, you deserve an explanation in that regard. That's the first issue. So if you can indulge me, if you have a copy of that, I'll give you my number, send it to me either via WhatsApp so that we can intervene. The issue of the LTAs, this is where we need to work very in partnership with the tourism department of the city. The attitude is clear. Where there is property and this property cannot be managed effectively by us, from a real estate position, the position is clear. Release that property. But for us to release that property, we need to know that it is going to land in good hands. So hence I said, if there's a proposal, if there's a facility, unfortunately I'm not responsible for Kiditsilane, but the Brajeri will assist. If there's a need or there's an opportunity for the LTA to run Kiditsilane, give us a proposal. But one of the limitations that we always have with some of the proposals that we receive is that we receive a proposal, but the proposal also says we must fund it. And you see, when you involve public money, there's a different process altogether. I had a lady earlier on says that she's requested a sponsorship for 30,000 to travel. Unfortunately, we are not a funding institution. We are not, and we're not going to be lying about it. There is no way that government will take money, unfortunately, in this particular instance, and provide such support. Ideally, yes. Ideally, government should be responding to those type of needs. But the restrictions and the financial management prescripts of this country do not allow for that. So it is something that we normally assist in terms of getting private sector to donate, to assist and all of these things. But the reality is, if you are expecting government, local government in this particular instance, to take money to sponsor a particular trip, unfortunately, that is something that is very constrained at the moment. So, much as I'm interested to respond to most of the questions, but I think that what is important and the observation is that if you look at the example that you've used, the Pentagon, those properties were owned by individuals. And what we are saying is we need a new community of individuals who are going to now take up this responsibility. It frustrates me every time when we're talking township economy, but there are no products in the township. And there seems to be an expectation that these products must be developed by government, maybe to a great extent. But the question that they always ask is, where is private money? Where are communities? Because if we do this thing and we do it well, communities, your formations, your LTAs must be able to raise funding, must be credible enough to raise donor funding and all of those things. We will support. But at the end of the day, these assets, these products must be owned by you as communities. So I think the relationship between public and private must be redetermined in this particular instance, because there seems to be a bigger expectation for government to be doing things rather than for us to be doing things together in collaboration. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Did you have something? All right, can we continue with some questions here? Just give us 3 for now. Can right at the back, be in the middle, and someone in the front.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Mine is to refer to Mr. Chauke. I can see that you are struggling a lot, but you've got processes in place. I'm not sure if you are unable to use them or you are shy to use them. Each and every word, like the sector that you are in, your tourism. Each and every word, kunende word committee that is in economic development. Now you are saying you are going to maybe train or workshop communities on leased property. Maybe you need first to sit down with those ward committees, capacitate them, because that's where the problem starts. From the local, we have these committees in our wards, but we are not using them, so that we don't have a process of coming to your offices. So my suggestion also in terms of the office, across Gauteng, in particular here in Ekurhuleni, Ninama shops and now that used to be owned by the municipality. Maybe you can start to have offices of the tourism here locally in those shops. I can see across ITPs that you are in a process of trying to fix those shops. Maybe you can fill in an office for tourism as well. And then there's an issue of a package of land as well. We don't have to travel, because I'm staying in Tembisa. I have to take a taxi to Edenvale to go and ask questions about the land. So you are saying in Triple C's, you've got that kind of information. The Triple C that is close to me, sometimes I've been in a network. I'm not sure which one are you referring to. So if maybe we can have those offices at our wards, each and every ward, I think they've got those shops, and then we will be able to make a walk-in, and then they liaise directly with your offices. And then the last point, kunababo khuluma a private partnership, and then you are saying you are unable to give communities some of the things that you have, but partnership must be done with the companies. So I would suggest that maybe you tell us as a city which companies you are also working with, so that maybe we can also, like for instance, we've got streams in the location, and then those streams, we think that for tourism attraction, they will be very important. But when we try to get some funds from you to make use of those and maybe make parks in front of those streams, you are unable to satisfy us as communities. But if we are having companies, nalama company angcolisa umoya, mhlambe sithi you partner with these people in terms of environment, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Candice Rolls. I'm from the Lake Club Benoni. We are a golf course in Benoni, right in the heart there on the lake. Basically, it's sad to hear what's happening with the golf courses. I have heard about Springs and how it's become dilapidated, and the sad thing is, you know what, it takes money and everything. We are a self-sufficient course. We rely on our members, we maintain the course, we maintain the fences, we provide security within the residential areas, and we also provide sports and recreation for, you know, children, schools, development players, seniors. We've got squash, golf bowls, we've got a restaurant, so we try and give back to, you know, people, the community and everything. My biggest issue is, obviously I have mentioned it before, we are on the lake. We were impacted, the hotels next to us are impacted, as well as the ski club. We have a major hyacinth problem, which we have tried to resolve ourselves with great difficulty. Unfortunately, we do require assistance. We are sitting with a municipal dredger that's been sitting in the lake for quite a few years, which I don't know if it's even accounted for anymore. So that's one of the things, if we could work trying to remove this hyacinth and that, it will also promote tourism, because people see Lake District, the lake, but you don't see a lake, you just see hyacinth and everything, which is also affecting the bird life, the fish life, and everything else. The other thing I wanted to mention is how do we go about with regards to speed calming measures? We have had petitions and that, we've had people, carts, people, pedestrian, kids almost being knocked over walking, crossing the roads. Recently, one of the kind staff members sent me a form, which I will complete on that, but how do we, as I say, this has been going on for years and years, and I'd hate a situation where someone does get knocked over. Those are the biggest things. Other than that, we try and do everything in-house and give back to the community. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Wellington Mkize. I represent Germiston Business Forum, which gave birth to what is called now Germiston Improvement District, which is currently making a difference in Germiston. Because of time, obviously, I will be very brief. I've got one very important question regarding the recreational facilities. We have been trying to get hold of someone in the office. Mr. Chauke knows me. I've been WhatsApping him for a long time. We want to know what is happening with Germiston Golf Club. From the recreation in soccer, because we played it on the street, going to the shop, you're hitting your tennis ball, all the way to the shop, you're hitting your tennis ball, coming back, showing skills. That's how you harness it. Likewise with golf, we've got city golf facilities that are dilapidating. You mentioned Kempton Park, it's dying. It's a matter of time. Germiston Golf Club is closed. Springs is on the verge of being closed. We have kids in schools. We want, I'm not blaming you, I'm saying we want a hearing. We want someone to go and sit down with and say, here are the plans. Our plans include, we're not looking for money. We've got business people who are interested that we can work with, but focus on developing our indigenous people. We need access to say, who are we going to talk to? We need to sit down. That includes the Germiston Lake. The lake is, it's a crime that Germiston Golf Club closed next to the lake like that, next to the airport. It's just unthinkable. But we're saying, who is there to talk to us? We need to talk to somebody. Number two, we're also keen to work with the city in creating improvement districts. You mentioned, I think Mr. Farouk mentioned that they build nice parks and then people tear down fences and. The citizen cannot arrest people. We need public enforcement officers. We need to have security. I'll make an example of Candy Square in town where I was involved a lot before, many years ago. It's still clean today. It's going down, but it's still clean. Why? There is security that enforces arresting of people. They arrest people. People must be arrested. There must be a EMPD, private security, and SAPS collective. We had something called Business Against Crime in Johannesburg. It worked. We cannot leave it to the public. There must be public policing. We cannot say, let's own it. Those days are gone. You talk to a person, he pulls a gun, he shoots you flat. No one is going to arrest anyone. But it's up to us to find mechanisms on how to protect infrastructure. That goes for all other infrastructures, not even talking about rail stations that have been wrecked to nothing. So I wanted to make one more point, then hand over. Yeah, so if at all you don't take anything, we need access to golf courses as people. We've got professionals who are ready. We've got designers of golf courses. We've got greenkeepers across the board, guys who've built courses in UK and America. We have capacity. Where do we go?
Thank you very much. About the golf courses. Let's start here and then we'll come to Mr. Chaka. Mr. Chaka, let's start with Mr. Chaka to respond to those last two and then we'll come to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. The question around the Germiston Golf Course, it forms part of our multi-year, plans in terms of ensuring that we upgrade. Remember, we might not be able to, actually we don't have all the funds to upgrade these facilities at the same time. So it forms part, but we are prepared to meet with yourselves. We'll share contacts after this meeting because we do allow public-private partnership so that we can actually decide as to how best do we speed up the upgrading of that facility. So we'll have that communique.
Let me also start with the Germiston Golf Course. Just for your interest, the Germiston Golf Course forms part of the broader urban regeneration program of Germiston. To that effect, Germiston Lake, including the golf courts, are part of what we call strategic land parcels. So as we speak now, council has now given us permission to go out on a long-term tender to develop that precinct, including the Germiston Golf Course. So we've put in interim measures just to make sure that the golf course is preserved. However, we believe that the long-term sustainability of the golf course is through a public-private partnership. And if that's what you guys are interested in, most definitely, as Dr. Chaka will have said, we'll have a conversation in that regard. But I can caution you now that it will be going out on public tender very, very soon. So you may as well start preparing to that effect. The issue of CIDs, you remember there were issues relating to the legalities of CIDs and so on. But where we are now, with the special ratings area, we are currently formulating a bylaw within the municipality. Hopefully, before the end of the year, it will be approved. The bylaw will basically seek to work with private property owners in the CBDs in terms of special ratings areas, so that, as I've indicated, the precinct plan approach is basically building on the CID model, where we will work with the property owners to redevelop some of the CBDs. A typical case, for example, is what you see in Maboneng, for example. It is a typical model like that. So we are hoping that as we convene the symposium in November, as parallel to that, the procurement process will have been initiated. So you are most welcome to participate in that procurement process. And I need to also put it on record. You know, with government things, sometimes you wish that things can move quicker, but the government has a whole lot of things that you must satisfy before all of these things. But I can give you the comfort that we are at advanced stages of getting that process to go live. There was a question that I did not touch on earlier on. I may as well touch on it now. The Benoni Plaza. Council of last week, Thursday, will have now given us the authority to release Benoni Plaza on public tender.
Some presentations. We'll wrap this here for now, but there is going to be, of course, more opportunities to engage during this session. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me appreciate all our speakers here this afternoon. Mr. Gomo, Mr. Akun, Dr. Chaka, and of course, Mr. Chauke. Can we clap for them? And this is a token of appreciation from the city itself. While those are being handed out, can I please request Mr. Seipi Bukula, who is the CEO of Renzo Network, to come and talk to us about the tourism entrepreneurship and small business promotion, please.
Here, man, if you can just go to something which says Tourism Enterprise BOS. Yeah. If they can project it, if they can't, I'll talk. Sanbonani. How are you doing? I'm good, thank you. I'm trying to see how best to position myself here. It's going to be a bit lonely. I'm alone here. So, my name is Septi Bukula, and I come from an organization based in Randburg called Renzo Network. Can you assist me with the echo there, please? So I come from an organization based in Randburg called Renzo Network. We are a collaborative network of, there we go. So that's how you spell my name, thank you. We are a collaborative network of travel and tourism SMEs. We started as a network around the country, and we are now a network in about 17 countries. And we really exist to, thank you, my friend. We exist to drive the growth of travel and tourism SMEs. So I've been asked here to talk about tourism, entrepreneurship, and small business growth. But I decided that, I talk a lot in platforms like this about tourism, entrepreneurship, and SMEs. And I know that things can become an information dump. And I don't intend this session to be an information dump. I don't intend it to be a session where I talk at you. I intend it to be a session that we talk together. So, can I start by getting an indication of how many of us in the room would consider themselves or are entrepreneurs? How many of us would identify themselves as entrepreneurs? Okay, so fantastic. So it's virtually all of us, so I'm in good company. I want to talk generally, but I really want to interact with you, so I don't want it to be a monologue. I want it to be a conversation, because the idea here is that we as entrepreneurs can, equip one another with insights, with information, with opportunities, so that by the time we leave here, we can all say we got at least one thing that we didn't have as we came here. So I've titled my talk, Creating Waves of Tourism Enterprise Growth. Creating Waves of Tourism Enterprise Growth. And I've called it Creating Waves of Tourism Enterprise Growth precisely because of the approach that we as a network take in terms of driving enterprise growth among ourselves as a collaboration. So I'm going to flip through this presentation very quickly, and then we can have a conversation. I keep looking this way because the screen there, maybe I'm supposed to be standing here because I can't actually see there, but I'm supposed to be looking there. Okay, so I put this up in front. Up front, actually, I've brought a copy of this book. I brought a copy of this book. It's titled Blue Ocean Strategy because it's a book that I like to recommend to entrepreneurs, because it's a book that we at Renzo Network, follow a lot in terms of, building our own business, but also working with entrepreneurs to build their business. I got this copy, I bought this copy while I was traveling through Malaysia many years ago. And it has a very strong influence on how we build our business at Renzo. And essentially, I'm not going to bore you with the detail of this, because I really want to use this as a basis for us to have a conversation. And I want to talk about practical things that you experience as entrepreneurs building businesses. But one of the things that I have found as a challenge with us entrepreneurs is that the majority of us operate in what is called a red ocean, right? And what do we mean by a red ocean? And I am not into, I don't have a tourism background, but I run a tourism business, and I run a very successful international tourism business. Because one of the things that I did when I came into tourism was to try and understand the industry in terms of red oceans and blue oceans, influenced by this book. And I found that the majority of us actually operate in what is called red oceans. And this is where there's intense competition. There's, every day you exist as a business, you're trying to, to beat your competitor next door. You're trying to exploit existing demand, and so on and so on. I mean, you can just see that it's what is called a race to the bottom. What I then learned from Blue Ocean is that it is actually possible to change that picture and create an environment where you make your competition irrelevant, where you can drive growth and really do things that make your business thrive. And this is the approach that we followed in our business. And I would like, when I finish, and I'm going to go through this very, very quickly, much quicker, in fact, than I usually do, because I'd like us to have a conversation and find out what your own experience is. In Red Oceans, it is hard to grow. We all focused on stealing customers from one another. There are low margins, we know the market space, everyone knows it, it's highly competitive, it's cutthroat, and that kind of stuff. We told ourselves that is not where we want to run business, because it is almost impossible to run a successful business there. So we decided we want to go the Blue Ocean route, and we wanted to create a space for ourselves. And this is what I want us to talk about. Because I think that in business, we very quickly say, oh, I don't have this support, government is not doing this for me, they're not giving that to me. All of that is important because every business operates in an environment, in an ecosystem where that support is important and necessary. But most of the time, you are starting on the back foot in any event, and no matter what support you get, because you're starting on the back foot, because you're starting in an impossible market, it's difficult, even with that support, to make a breakthrough and grow your business. So how do you create a space all for yourself in business? And I'm going to give an example of how we did it in our own business. When we started in what they call business tourism, we're in the my side of tourism. How do you offer an irresistible value proposition that unlocks and makes competition irrelevant? And I tell you, it is possible, it is doable. It may not be doable in all cases, but I think in all cases we should be asking ourselves questions. How can I make competition here irrelevant? So the question we should be asking ourselves is, how do we jump out of these red oceans where there's intense competition into spaces where there are fresh opportunities that we can tap into? And this is what we did in our case. I hope you can see. I think it's a slide. So we started a MICE business, business events, business tourism, from zero knowledge of tourism. And what we wanted to do was to really create a winning MICE business. And we knew that, MICE in this country is dominated by established players. We were a new player coming in, and we wanted to carve out a space for ourselves in that. We were not concerned about winning awards, but we've been fortunate to win a few awards along the way. But all we were concerned about was, how do we create a Blue Ocean MICE specialist? A specialist that's not going to focus on trying to compete in red oceans and taking businesses from others, but a specialist that was going to create our own space in the MICE space. This was the second award that we won. As a MICE business, you can see some of our clients come from those countries, and the first thing you're going to see there is that we don't have a single client from South Africa. And that's on purpose, that is deliberate. We set out from the beginning to say, we are not in the business of tendering for business events. You will not see a single tender from us. And we get invited a lot to tender to manage this event and that event, and we just ignore it. We don't, because we told ourselves from the beginning, we are not in the tender space. So, anybody who invites us, to tender, to host, to manage an event, we do not respond. We told ourselves from the beginning that our market is out there, it's not in here. So we will go and find business out there in the world. And our clients, those flags represent some of the clients that we've had since we started. And we're a young company, by the way, only started in 2017. The majority of our business comes from the US. And this is the thing that we pride ourselves with, and I'm going to talk about this later. This one figure is the number, this is not our turnover, but this is the number this is the business that we've given to other SMEs through hosting the business events that we host. And I'm going to explain how we do that. We were interrupted by COVID-19. Our plan was by now we would be, above 10 million in terms of the business that we've passed to other SMEs in our space. But we're pretty proud of that figure, and we are accelerating on it. One of the things that we do, so we do, MICE, so inbound business events, we find them, we research, we find, we bring them here. That's one thing that we do. That's the core of our business. But the other thing that we do is we do what is called tourism cluster development. We are the pioneers of tourism cluster development in South Africa. What you're seeing in front of you there was us was our network, as an SME network, leading tourism KwaZulu-Natal and tourism KwaZulu-Natal ETIA, the department and the agency. We led a study visit to Spain and France. We got the money from the European Union, led that study visit to Spain and France. Tourism KwaZulu-Natal and tourism ETIA, KwaZulu-Natal ETIA, the department and the agency. We led a study visit to Spain and France. We got the money from the European Union, led that study visit to Spain and France, to expose them to the concept of tourism clusters. And that study visit was so successful that when we came back, we partnered with the government of KwaZulu-Natal at the Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, and what was then called KwaZulu-Natal Tourism, which is now Tourism and Film KwaZulu-Natal, to start the country's first tourism cluster in the Drakensberg, where we are currently working on a major tourism cluster development initiative. That is those are the workshops that were run with stakeholders in the Drakensberg to start that cluster. And we have just secured about 5 million rand to go and redevelop a major infrastructure in the Drakensberg. And I've been listening here, hearing people talk about dilapidated infrastructure. Let me tell you, it's all over the country, unfortunately, especially in tourism. It is mind-blowing how much quality infrastructure has been run down. And we have such in the Drakensberg. I don't have pictures of it there, but we've just, as a cluster, which we call Utugela Drakensberg Tourism Cluster, we've just secured 5 million rand to go and develop that infrastructure. Fantastic infrastructure. It's on a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Can you believe it? And a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So what my brother Kaifas Chauke was saying here is exactly what's happening in KwaZulu-Natal. We went and signed a 10-year agreement with Azamvelo, which is in charge of that piece of infrastructure. And we said to them, we need to redevelop this infrastructure in order to bring an uplift to this destination. Those of you who have been to the Drakensberg will know that it is a fantastic destination, right? But the numbers of the Drakensberg have been going down because the roads, the infrastructure going there is so bad. The infrastructure like what we're working with is so bad. So we said, no, we need to turn this around. And we went to Azamvelo, we signed a 10-year agreement, concession agreement. So we now as the cluster are going to run that piece of infrastructure. But really, part of what we follow here and what we say to entrepreneurs all the time in tourism is we are stronger together. We preach collaboration. We work with entrepreneurs, most of the time we compete with each other. This guy wants to beat that guy and that kind of stuff. We work on a completely different concept. We say, let us work together. This is how we were able to channel 7 million rand. If we were selfish, we would have kept that money to ourselves. But we say, let's build a bigger cake as entrepreneurs and let's share it. So we pass, some of the business to fellow entrepreneurs and we keep some of it ourselves. So collaboration is one thing that I really want us to talk about today. And this was a much longer presentation. I made it much shorter for this session because really, as I said, I don't want to talk at you. I want us to talk together. So, here's how we start discussing together. Is there a mic out there in the audience? Is there a mic out there in the audience? Because I want us to have a conversation. Is there only one mic? How much time do I have?
How much do you need?
Well,
10
you tell
minutes.
me.
10 minutes.
Yeah. They say I have 10 minutes, which works fine with me. So, what are the issues that you want us to talk about in 10 minutes? Because I didn't want to be me talking at you, I wanted to be me talking with you. What do you want us to talk about in 10 minutes? You can base it on what I've shared, you can come up with a new issue, and then we can talk about that.
Good day, colleagues. My name is Prudence Lebogang.
Yeah, just keep it short, so don't introduce yourself, just go to it.
They have to,
No,
so they
go
understand
for it,
why
go
I'm
for it.
asking what I'm asking.
Yeah, I'll forget your name by the time you finish anyway, so what's the point?
They won't. They won't. I'm a circular economy and sustainability expert. So what you've said, I resonate with it a lot. And it's the challenge that I have because I launched a sustainability hub, the first in Africa, that services people to all Africans to transition successfully towards sustainability for free, no age or gender discrimination. So now, but then we have a problem because we're trying to, I also have a product that sells outside Africa. And when I got exposed to that market, I came back home and I was like, let's work together how everyone works globally so that we can achieve development, sustainable development. But then now the challenge is that when you come, obvious, as you have your clients are from certain regions, they do business following trends. Sustainability is one of the trends, right? And then you came back home, you had people in the same industry, combined them and did much bigger work together. So that's what we're trying to do. I'm trying to get people to do that. And I came to tourism because it is linked to all industries. And which also takes us back to climate adaptation and the smart city that we are trying to develop. So now, I want us to talk about how do we come together and maintain a swift relationship between the city and the private sector that comes with these solutions. Woguti, we know how the world operates. We have access of getting you this,
Yeah,
and
let's
that.
get to the points, please.
Yeah,
We've got 10 minutes.
The point is,
10 minutes.
what I want us to talk about is how do we get to that level where we have the same policies that we work on between the government and the private sector, and njengoba manje we want to have public-private partnership.
Exactly. So again, it goes back to collaboration. So it's not just collaboration among us entrepreneurs. It has to be collaboration among us who are players in the ecosystem to make this thing work. Which is exactly the example that I gave with Ezemvelo. You know, I mean, in our case in the Drakensberg, we would not have been able to make what we're doing in the Drakensberg work if Ezemvelo had not come to the party and agreed to sign a 10-year agreement with us. So whether it's collaboration between us and Ezemvelo, collaboration among us and entrepreneurs and other fellow entrepreneurs, which is something that I encourage a lot. But we need an ecosystem approach. I mean, that's all I'm going to say to you because, you know, I was told I had longer time, but now I've got 10 minutes, so I need to run. Yes, sir.
Greetings, everyone. This is Lebogang Ramushu from Kataros Tourism. So basically, I was ambushed by Mr. Kaifas. He just gave me a mic. So just a quick one. We already have packages around our area. We recently did our tour bus, and we were supported by local people and other stakeholders. So basically, like a lot has been said, I don't need to paraphrase anything. I'm just saying that maybe all the talks of doing this, rehabilitating all the dilapidated facilities, if they can be, you know, just fast track, speed, you know, so that we are able to bring the tourists around our area, because it is so unfortunate that we have, like, every time that like the guys or tourists or visitors come this side, we do not have, you know, any place to take them to. Thank you.
Okay, guys, let me just ask you a question. How many of you have heard of something called the Collaborative Fund? Okay, no, don't give a mic, don't give a mic, don't give a mic, don't give a mic. How many of you have heard of something called the Collaborative Fund? How many of you have heard of something called TOMSA? TOMSA. Okay, so some of you, especially, not exclusively, but some of you those who have, accommodation establishments or car rentals and that kind of stuff, there's that levy that gets collected when you sleep in a hotel and that levy is called a TOMSA levy. That levy is paid to TOMSA. TOMSA stands for Tourism Marketing South Africa. Under TOMSA, there is a fund called the Collaborative Fund. But listen to me very carefully so that you don't rush to the Collaborative Fund and say SEPTI sent you. The Collaborative Fund is designed to fund collaborative tourism projects like tourism, product development, destination development, and that kind of stuff. It is from the Collaborative Fund that we receive 5 million to develop the infrastructure that we're developing in the Drakensberg. And so if you have, really catalytic tourism projects or tourism products that you want to develop, I want to suggest that you consider what the Collaborative Fund can do for you. You can go and Google Collaborative Fund, or you can go and Google Tourism Business Council of South Africa, and it will lead you to the Collaborative Fund. Read it very carefully because there are things they will clearly not fund. I don't want you to waste your time, but you can look at that and see if you can get support. We need, as entrepreneurs, to drive the initiative in resuscitating the infrastructure that has been dilapidated, the tourism infrastructure that has been dilapidated. I think it's in our hands.
Thank you so much. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you, Indaba SEPTI. I think your gift will be following you that side. Tebogo is that side. She'll make sure that you get it. Colleagues have been requested just to be a caretaker of this program for the next 3 presentations. So we're going to move to Dr. Lance now, who will just give us a quick presentation, and then we'll finalize with Mr. Clinton de Kock, who will give us also a short presentation. Then we'll get the councillor who will do closing remarks for us, and then you can go for lunch. It'll be very quick. Please don't leave. Thank you.
Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm from an organization called Ekurhuleni Tourism and Heritage Association. I'm going to just quickly tell you something about myself because I don't have much time either. I'm a PhD in education. It's got a very good mining and industrial history, and it's also a gateway, as we know, or a Tambo, and a hub of cultures and stories. I'm not going to go into many of these, but all I know is that we need to make people aware of Ekurhuleni. This needs to be a tourist destination. Some of the areas we're going to look at, I'm going to talk about the Watvolk, Thoris, or Tambo precinct. That's one that we've been looking at recently because it's such an important one, so close to our Tambo, and there are obviously many other precincts, but we have amazing resources in Ekurhuleni. And what a lot of you have spoken about, collaboration, who to speak to, who to communicate with. What we are trying to do as a neutral organization, as an organization essentially that believes in sustainability, believes in growth. We are action associated. We don't just talk. We want to work with you. We want to help as much as we can. So we want to do that, and we want to also improve the awareness internationally and locally, nationally, about Ekurhuleni. We have amazing wetlands, lakes, and biodiversity. I've also got a bit of experience in terms of the wetlands and biodiversity and how to improve that on an engineering type of respect. There are many ecotourism opportunities, and I'm not going to go into these amazing opportunities in terms of music. Now, what are some of the developments that I want to focus on? Now, we have looked at, Ether has looked at many projects that we believe is going to improve the way South Africa sees Ekurhuleni as a tourist destination, as well as foreign to a community cleanup campaign. Very, very important. Everyone's been speaking about how this is going to be done. There are time lags that I've been hearing, you know, in terms of tenders, in terms of 90 days, 180 days, etc. What we're trying to do is cut down on these times so that we can improve the public-private partnerships, the PPP, so that we can get local money as well to assist in some of these developments. So just to say that our key drivers, we want to focus, I was going to give a bit of a background about the key drivers in tourism. First one's people. Third is infrastructure. And the fourth one's marketing. The people one is skills development. Now we need skills development. So I've got a product, international product, which about 90,000 students use it. About 90,000 students use it. Wits University uses it. It's basically a product which I use to assist online education. It assists in skills development in a way that's very easy. And I think that I've got hotel schools on it. I've got, etc. A lot of various other organizations use it. And that's people. Product, of course, many products. We want to try and develop products that become signature tourism products. And we've got a lot of lovely ideas that we would love to discuss with either people in specific areas in Ekurhuleni, as well as industry, as well as the youth. So just to give an example then, we want to obviously be inclusive. That means youth, women, small businesses, etc. We want to build effectiveness, competitiveness. It means youth, women, small businesses, etc. We want to build effectiveness, competitiveness, and we want to also safeguard sustainability. So in terms of sustainability, we're looking at the eco side, ecotourism. We're looking at also the other manufacturing, smart manufacturing. An area that I think Ekurhuleni definitely should focus on being a hub of the industrial side in terms of manufacturing. Now, of course, we want to empower communities. We want to create jobs. Now, how do you do that? You can do that, yes, by collaboration funds. You can do that by getting funding. But you can also do that by creating opportunities. And the opportunities are created by you. It's created by the local organizations, the local associations. And what Ether is being a regional tourist association means that we are supposed to be looking after the local tourist agencies to help them achieve what they would like to do. Some of the products we're thinking of doing are things like historical township cultural sites. We've got a very interesting one called on township tours, where we actually have bicycle tours of the various of Tembisa and some of the other townships, and you can literally do a cycle tour, so you don't need expensive buses. And that, so in other words, what I believe is you need to use the resources that you do have, collaborate.
Listen to people speak and you go like, surely that is your job. Surely that's your job. Your job is to keep the lights on, clean the parks, make sure the water's running. And when I work from private sector, you talk PPP, but you're going to throw the new treasury regulations to me. And it takes us 5 years because of treasury regulations. So are you South African? Figure that one out. because I am. So if we are South African, then we should be doing something collectively, right? Collectively. So that's why I don't collaborate. Please implement. If you are South African, let us figure out how we keep people here. So if you are from Gauteng, and I'm not originally, but I am because I've been here almost 20 plus years, can we see how we can contribute to how we keep people longer in Gauteng versus competing with each other, right? And I'm sure that some of you, like myself, you've been here for most part of the day, but sometimes we don't actually find each other, right? We don't find each other because we are competing with each other. So in doing that, I'm just going to show you one more slide because as you can have the pack. There's a lot of good information in here. Hi, Bob. Okay. Probably I'll catch him outside. I'm from the meetings and events industry. So I don't do tourism. I don't do tourism, right? It's difficult for my dad to understand. He's 79 years old. So when he looks at me, I show him this particular slide. I'm not a travel agent. I'm not a tour guide. I do this every day of my life, which is meetings. Every day. So I leave you with the following. When I walked into the venue, you're going to see an old venue. I see a venue of opportunity, right? I'll probably get rid of the stage. I maybe leave the stage, I'll tell you why, but I'll get rid of the stage. I'll lift the carpet up. I'll open up the roof for sunlight to come in here, and I'll create an opportunity where I'll speak to some of the international dart players. Because if you're on Netflix, follow a series called Matchroom. Largest sports management company in the world, Matchroom. They own darts globally. And they're looking to move darts around the world, and they're moving darts into Saudi now. So you've got a venue. And my sense is you probably can put 1,000 people into this venue, maybe 750, right? So sometimes as South Africans, we look at new opportunities, and we forget about the opportunity that we sit in here. That's the one. The second is, there's a part in, I think, episode 2 or 3 of Matchroom, where they get together in a man-made lake, and they do catch and release, and they've got the top 50 sports people in the UK, and they do that on behalf of charity. And I hear the golf course lady, and I hear the lake, but you clean the lake out, ma'am, you put in fish there, and you say to the people who do fly fishing, come, catch and release, and you sort that out. As simple as that. It sounds simple, but somebody has to do the work, right? But what I'm asking you all to do when you leave, because I'm standing now between yourself or aging. So if you're on the other side of 50, how you are aging. There are people that actually do this every day of their lives, and they have to have an annual meeting. There's a South African Bee Association that have got 550 members that have to have a meeting on an annual basis about aging and about bees. So like we talk to each other about tourism and collaboration. When you read the article in the Sunday Times, was, and you are aging. There are people that actually do it, feed them, and I spoke at the Chefs Association. I think that lady might have not remembered me. At the Chefs Association, I think that lady might have not remembered me. But the key, I think that lady might have not remembered me. But the key, I said at the introduce yourself as business people, right? Because when you say SMME in South Africa, you think two things immediately: person of color, and we must help them. We don't say these things. It's there. We don't say it, colleagues. It's over there. So you are a business person by your right. You are a business person. If you're a small business, why say that? If you're a big business, why say that? You are a business person. Bottom line. That's it. Own that. Own the fact that you're a business person. Well, thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much, Clinton. MMC, allow me to recognize the CEO of Tourism Business Council of South Africa. Without wasting time, we'll now then move to the last item. Councillor Dineo Mati to give the vote.
Responsibility to convey a vote of thanks. First and foremost, let me congratulate the Department of Tourism for hosting such an important and successful event. Gatherings of this magnitude are critical to reflect on the state of tourism nationally and within the context of the city of Ekurhuleni. The tourism sector has a potential to contribute to the economic growth and employment creation in this country, and importantly within the city of Ekurhuleni. Therefore, one cannot overemphasize the importance of regular engagements with our key stakeholders to share ideas and devise strategies on how can we optimize the contribution of tourism to economic growth and employment creation. I also want to extend my deepest gratitude on behalf of the city to everyone who contributed in making this event a success. From the executive mayor who delivered a keynote address and our panelists who shared great insights about the state of tourism in the city of Ekurhuleni and destination promotion and management. Let me also give gratitude to the HODs that were part of this process. I'm convinced that our department has drawn key lessons from these discussions. It must not just be talk shop. We must live here with a clear program of action. We came here to listen. We cannot waste your time from morning till now, only for us to call you back again to come and speak the same things, and there would be no action. So next time we call you, we must be calling you to come and give a detailed account as to we came here, San Lalela, and then what happened from then till now. And I would prefer the very same audience be part, so that we must not come here and lie to you again. There'll be new faces now, giving you commitments and new promises. So if you guys are back, you are able to say, imani kancane, what happened to 1, 2, and 3 that we spoke of. You know, we need to get to a level whereby it cannot just be business as usual. Siyakhuluma, and budgets are spent here. And siyabuya futhi, a lot of budgets are spent here, nothing is done. So we're grateful ukuthi you came and you were able to give. You know, we were able to even take criticism. So we're grateful ukuthi, you know, we were able to even take criticism, MMC, on areas where we are not doing well. Don't feel like when you tell us straight, hey, it's dirty. How do we attract tourists to environment that is not cleaned, to environment that is not safe? So all those things are exactly what we are here for. So we action plans, that we take them, not just take them and go and sit in offices, make sure we action plans. So we would like to thank all of you. Sibe late kancane, we ran behind schedule, but you were patient, nahlala, and went through the entire process. So mine was just to thank you. It must not just be taken lightly, it's another one of those. So Tinasi Oversight Committee, that is the MMC Wale portfolio. Tinasi Oversight Committee, I'm here with Ama Counseling Khala now. We are the ones that are able to call the MMC to say, we are going to hold you into account. 1, 2, and 3 has not happened. So we were here to actually just see the process run through. So let me thank each and every one of you, from the MC to everyone that was part of this process. Once again, your attendance and your valuable contributions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Councillor.
Okay, lastly, let's convey our apology from the EM. He had to rush to the G20 summit meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I think on behalf of, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for participating. And I know that we had other hands